Hello everyone, this is Frank DeMore with the End Times Research Ministry. Today is September the 11th of 2017. Because there's so much chatter about the rapture of the church taking place on September the 23rd, I want to give this shout out to Scott Clarke, one of the people who are proclaiming that on the 23rd of this year, on September the 23rd, the church, who he says is going to be born and brought up into heaven and raptured on the 23rd of September. Now this is one of his many videos on the 23rd where he's teaching about the rapture of the church, what's going to happen on the 23rd. Here's another one right here. You'll see it. I'm going to pull this one up. But this one right here is where I left a message. You'll see that it's still going around. But what I did is I did a screenshot of what I said. Let me show you what I said, and then I'm going to come back to this one. Now here's that screenshot. You see Scott Clarke, and that was from that April video that he made. And this is what I wrote to him. And this isn't the first time that I wrote, but apparently he's either taken off what I wrote, and I'm not the only one that's been writing him about this specific date that he's talking about. This is what I wrote. What is Scott going to do on the 24th of September when what he says fails again? Now keep in mind, this isn't the first time that he tried to get people to believe when the rapture of the church was going to take place. He had to make adjustments from a previous teaching. And he does a lot of what I see the Jehovah's Witnesses do. When they say things and it doesn't happen, then they'll come back and say, well, we got this wrong or we got that wrong. And literally all they're doing is making excuses for their false teaching. Now I would admit to you right out of the gate, I've been watching Scott Clarke for a long time. And everything that he has taught up until this previous teaching, I really enjoyed. I liked. He was spot on. But all of a sudden, he stepped off the pier into the deep end. Let me continue what I wrote in this screenshot. And the reason why I did this is because maybe he doesn't want to post what people are writing. It says, there will be no rapture on the 23rd of September. I have been following you, Scott, and have liked what you taught up until now, but you have crossed the line. I have written to you asking you where you come up with the 23rd for the Feast of Trumpets, and others have also written you, yet you avoid giving the answer. The Feast of Trumpets for 2017 begins at 6 p.m. on the September 20th and ends on the 21st at 6 p.m. And the reason why it's at 6 p.m. is because this is where the Jews consider 6 p.m. as a new day. But you could look it up for yourself on the Jewish calendars or Jewish websites. The real date for the Jewish festival, the Feast of Trumpets of September this year, is September the 20th, which begins at 6 p.m. Now let me continue on what I said to him. We'll start off here with the feast. The Feast of Trumpets for 2017 begins at 6 p.m. on September the 20th and ends on the 21st, 6 p.m., not on the 23rd. Plus, the Antichrist has not been revealed yet, as Paul warned us, so the September date has to fail, and it will. I'm going to take a screenshot of what I wrote you, and I will post this on the 24th of September, and you will still be here along with the church. Now let me just make this point. There's people who really want to get really in-depth with the rapture of the church. But the sensationalism doesn't fly when teachings turn out to be a dud. Well, what they say just doesn't hold up to what the Bible has to say. And if the Bible tells us there are two things that have to happen before the rapture could take place, this is why Paul addressed the early church, because they thought they had missed the rapture. And Paul turns around and he tells them there are two things that have to happen. One is the great falling away first, and then the Antichrist being revealed. That hasn't happened. Neither one of them have happened yet. Plus the fact, and the two witnesses aren't even here yet, which has to happen. So as I said, I really liked what Scott was saying up until now. And I pray that on the 24th, when he sees that these things did not come to pass, then he would stop trying to make excuses and go on again and try to pick up another date. Because the true Christian, let me just say this, the true Christian, if they're walking with Jesus Christ, this timing of the rapture doesn't mean squat, because they would be ready no matter what. The concern is for the non-believer, those that would be caught unaware, as a thief in the night, as Paul warned. That's the major concern. But to get the church involved about specific dates of when it's going to take place, nobody knows. Now, I feel bad for all the people, and I know that there are thousands of people that are watching these videos that Scott has made. And there's going to be a lot of people who have set their hopes that they're going to get raptured on the 23rd, and their hopes will be crushed on the 23rd when it doesn't happen. So please, I'm asking anyone who is watching these videos, please come back. Go to my website, End Times Research Ministry, and we can hash these things over and try to bring you down to earth based on what the word of the Lord really says about when he's coming back. And I can assure you, there's one thing that you'll never get from my ministry. You'll never get a date set. Jesus said nobody knows the day or the hour, and that should be the end of the story. Now, in closing, I just want to show you what Scott said concerning his statement. So if there's anybody that says, well, he really doesn't espouse this 23rd, but he really does. He's drawn a fine line. Listen to what he says, because what he is saying is, you're going to really see the 23rd take place. Watch. Just listen to what he says very carefully.
How do I wrap this up? You guys have been awesome. I just, the end goal of the message is that we realize what time it is. The possibility of what time it is. Does he have to come back now? Somebody's like, yeah. Yeah. Get on down here. Get me. I'm done with this place right here. Well, we can't set... the Bible, there's no verse in the Bible that says don't set dates. But what we understand is that it just drives us all nuts when people cry wolf. God told me the rapture...
And that's essentially what he's doing. So pay attention. He's saying, it's a bad thing to cry wolf.
Date, it's on June 3rd.
Well, he's saying it's on the 23rd.
And we see this stuff, put just garbage on the internet, and people fall for it, and that's what drives us nuts. Like look at all these people watching this video. Good job, brother, he's coming tomorrow. That's what drives us nuts. So, no, we should not cry wolf. But do you think I'm...
Now watch. This is the important section right here. Do you think that I'm calling wolf? Watch this.
Crying wolf, or am I just giving you what I see as much facts as possible?
In other words, he believes that it's going to be on the 23rd, and that's what he's teaching.
This has been really hard for me, because I don't just have, an idea and then, I got to turn on YouTube and tell everybody. This stuff was so heavy to me. I sat on it for somewhere between 6 and 9 months last year before I made... you guys watch those two videos that have like the Fox logo? It says September 23rd, 2017. I record all that in one day. It was kind of like this. I just ranted for an hour and a half, and I chopped it into 2 pieces and made 2 videos out of it. But that was all information that I was like keeping guarded up. I'm like, I can't tell people they're not born again yet. They're going to stone me. I can't tell people that the church wasn't born at Pentecost. Eventually, I sat in that long enough, and I got confident. I'm like, I could totally show all the scriptures. It's just logical.
All right, so that's it. But I'm just going to stop it right there. Without a question, he is definitely teaching that the 23rd of September is the church is going to be born, and it's going to go to heaven in the rapture. There's no way around what he's going to say when it doesn't happen. People could use his own videos when it doesn't happen. And in closing, let me just say this. I would love love to see on the 23rd the church go to heaven in the rapture. I would love to see it. I would love to see Mr. Clarke prove me wrong. But there is no way biblically that it can happen. The church has not fallen away like Paul addressed, and the Antichrist hasn't been revealed yet. The nation of Israel hasn't even made a flight into Jordan, where they're going to be hiding during the tribulation for a period of time. Nor has, as I said, the two witnesses showed up yet. On the 24th of this month, September, the church will still be here, and so will Clarke.